Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you are a brand new subscriber or a brand new viewer. My name is Kyle and today we're going to be reviewing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is directed by Sam Raimi. Oh, that feels good to say. In the sequel, Stephen Strange is trying to protect a young girl named America Chavez from the clutches of Scarlet Witch, played once again by Elizabeth Olsen, and in the process opens up the portal to the multiverse and chaos ensues. Sam Raimi is one of the most inspirational directors of all time. He is somebody that has influenced me ever since I was a child with his original Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. What most people don't know about Raimi is that before Spider-Man, he made a big name for himself, especially in the horror category, with the Evil Dead movies. One of my personal favorite stories is discovering how he made the film Into the Woods in the late 70s. Basically, he read an entire camera manual, went out with Bruce Campbell and a couple of friends, and they went and filmed an 8-minute sequence in which they showcased all of their incredible techniques they learned. And they wanted to show that to potential investors to get money to make The Evil Dead. It truly is inspirational stuff because it was possible for them to do what they did despite the almost impossible odds they were faced against. Now, since The Evil Dead, Raimi went on to make a lot of different movies, including Darkman, The Quick and the Dead, A Simple Plan, truly awesome blockbuster spectacles, but he also made incredibly intimate dramas. But of course, he will always be known to me for making the Spider-Man movies. However, the Evil Dead movies showcase just how truly amazing his nightmarish imagery could be. So why not combine those two to make Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Now, in typical Marvel movie fashion, there's a lot of spoilers, and obviously I will not be sharing those because I want you to have the same experience I did. This is going to be a spoiler-free review. So what can I say? Well, right off the bat, I will tell you that I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. We're going to be talking about that, and we're also going to be talking about some things that I think could have made it even more fun. For the most part, Raimi's direction absolutely shines, and I say for the most part because we'll get to that in a second. But whenever it's truly Raimi behind the camera, taking the reins over these sequences, they are spectacular. They're unique. They don't feel the same as every single other Marvel movie. A lot of Raimi's visual techniques, such as the Dutch angle zoom-ins or the extreme close-ups on somebody's eyes in direct correlation to Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns, all of that stuff is in this movie, and it's terrific. It's awesome. And it's, of course, aided by the score of this movie by the one and only Danny Elfman. Now, Elfman, of course, worked with Sam Raimi in the Spider-Man movies. He also worked with him on Darkman. So he definitely understands Raimi's oddball, goofy, and campy style. This is a very campy movie, and the score definitely reflects some of that. Now, I gotta be honest, the original Doctor Strange is not one of my favorite Marvel movies. I think it's in the lower tier, and that's just my opinion. I felt like the movie was just very drab and overly serious when it should have been goofy and weird like this movie was. I felt like the direction was very kind of stale. Even though you were having sequences in the mirror dimension, I just wasn't blown away by it. And I felt like the biggest problem with that movie was on the character of Stephen Strange. I just didn't really care about him, and I didn't really like him as a character. Fortunately, through Infinity War and Endgame, and through No Way Home, my thoughts have softened on the character, but he still is an asshole, and he still portrays that in this movie, although he is definitely more likable here. The newcomer to the movie, which is Xochitl Gomez, I hope I pronounced her first name correctly, as America Chavez, I actually really liked the character. I thought she was very sweet, very charming, very likable, and I would definitely enjoy seeing her in other stuff. Now, her character, I'm not sure how much I can really divulge because I didn't watch the trailer for this movie. I'll just say that she definitely has a lot of power. You also have Benedict Wong as, well, Wong. He was definitely the funniest element of the first movie. I remember all of the jokes I really laughed at were by him. Aside from the Dormammu part, that was pretty funny. Rachel McAdams returns in this movie, and the best thing I can say about it is she has more to do in this film than in the first movie, and I felt like they were able to expand her character, although I don't want to tell you guys why, because I feel like you gotta see the movie to figure that out. But let's not beat around the bush here. The scene stealer of this movie is Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. She's definitely the best element of the movie, and definitely is the most fun element of the movie, because Sam Raimi's direction allowed her to go very over the top, and oh boy, there are some line deliveries in this movie that are so hammy and so ridiculously goofy that I just couldn't help but laugh. But I liked that. It was fun. It was unique. She wasn't just the same old Wanda Maximoff, she really was able to come into her own in this film. And this is also where we can branch into some of the film's darker territories, because there are some sequences in this movie that are definitely the darkest sequences of the MCU by far. And I loved that. I loved when Raimi was able to go dark. Not really dark, but he was able to go dark enough that it made those sequences feel nightmarish. Now, the unfortunate thing is, despite how much I simply enjoyed the film, there are a lot of problems here. There's a lot of missed opportunities, and there's a lot of things that simply just couldn't be fixed. So let's talk about some of those problems. I think, for one, the pacing of the first 20 minutes is incredibly rushed. We get introduced to America Chavez, and then they kind of just be like, all right, well, we got to get into the regular plot, so let's just have a quick little scene with her, and then we're going to jump into everything else. And it just didn't mesh with the overall pace of the rest of the film. Now, when I said most of Raimi's direction, there is some sequences that feel like they weren't even directed by Raimi, or Raimi was basically told by Marvel, this is how we want this scene to be. I know you can have some of your insert shots, but this is how we want this scene to be. And he just kind of had to follow orders within the constraints of Marvel. There are definitely some parts of the movie that don't feel like they were directed by him, and it's a real shame because they stuck out like a sore thumb to me. I really feel like this movie could have been more intense, but again, that's just me. And for a PG-13 movie, it definitely has some scares, but I don't feel like there was enough. I feel like there could have been more and you still could have earned that PG-13 rating. I definitely believe there's going to be an uncut version of this that comes out on Blu-ray, definitely not Disney Plus. I do feel like there are a couple of holes in the plot. There's a part in the movie where they try to explain that, well, everything happens for a reason. And that typically is kind of an excuse over lazy writing, because there are a couple of coincidental things in the movie that just so happen to lead to those perfect moments. And some of it was a little bit too preposterous for me. But honestly, guys, I very much prefer the more goofy and campy and over-the-top elements of this movie over the very drab and serious elements of the first movie, because it just made that movie very boring and uninteresting to me. This actually had some great moments, some really fun moments because of how campy it is. But that's just in typical Sam Raimi fashion, and I love Sam Raimi so much that seeing this movie was really a joy to me. I've actually seen this movie twice now, Thursday night and Saturday night, and both times I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this movie, and I felt like it was unique for the most part. There definitely were some sequences that felt like typical Marvel Studio sequences, but when Raimi was given the reins to do what he wanted to do, he definitely delivered. Although I do feel like there could have been more. I wanted there to be more frightening sequences, more intense imagery. But the imagery that we got, I was overall satisfied with. It definitely feels like a B movie, and I feel like as such, it deserves that grade. I definitely am happy that Sam Raimi is back directing a movie. I really hope we get to see more of him, because this man has had talent his entire life. And he deserves to keep making more movies, because I sure as hell will go see them. I love him. I really hope that he gets to make more films after this. What are your guys' thoughts on Doctor Strange 2? Did you like it as much as I did? Were you somebody who disliked the film? Please let me know down in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. All the links to my social media pages can be found in that description box below, as well as my new business website, kjgpictures.com. That link will also be in the description box below. I thank you all so much as always for watching, and stay tuned.